Well, folks, what is happening? Welcome to Mentality Monsters, and today's episode is proudly sponsored by Our Kings Camps. We'll hear more about them later on here in the episode. So, folks, we are joined by probably the most popular PT online coach in Belfast in the north now. Mr. Emmet McKenna. So, I mean, you probably saw all his videos on Instagram or on TikTok, on social media, and as we said there before, a lot of people think you're a dick, a lot of people think you're funny, a lot of people think, fuck, they all have their own opinions. But we're here to hear your life story and the Emmet McKenna life story. So, bro, we're just going to start off here at the very start. What were you like as a young person, and where are you from?
I'm from the Orme Road originally.
Sorry to hear that.
Here, listen, the Orme Road's a good spot. Like, it's affluent as fuck now. Like, they moved all the riffraff out, including myself and my family. But yeah, that's where I'm from. Being honest with you, like growing up, like I was always a fucking maniac. Even when I was a kid, like in P2, I got sent in my old primary school, Holy Rosary. They used to send you the wall if you're horsing about. And they sent me to the wall, and I turned around and took a piss on the wall. And they were like, they brought me to principal, and I was like, well, you sent me to the wall, what do you expect?
Just standing there, the teacher going like, just pissing.
Rules was never my thing, so yeah, school was the same. I was actually good at school to an extent in primary school, then secondary school went way over my head. So I just started being the opposite then, distracting everybody, trying to be the class clown, trying to be Mr. Funny Man, and really actually was struggling, like inside. Yeah. I wasn't able to keep up. I had learning difficulties and I was struggling with them, but instead of taking help, I just did the opposite and trying to distract people.
Were you aware of your learning difficulties at that age, or is it only later on in life that you...
It was more my ma kept pushing for it. In secondary school, she was like, there's something not right here. Like, the way he learns is not normal.
Yeah.
So, like, with that, then she pushed for a test, and I got dyslexia test done, and then I had a helper throughout school. Like, I had so much extra time and a helper in class and stuff. But on top of that, then, obviously, then years later, I've never been diagnosed with it, but I mean, I've been diagnosed by hundreds and hundreds of followers and clients and fucking everybody, even my staff members and all, they've all said I've got ADHD. So, yeah, then I started looking into that, and then
might have it then.
Yeah, and then I started looking into it, and I was like, okay, yeah, you probably do. So it made more sense. And my mum actually did it as well. She looked at it, she was like, yeah, like all the signs were there. Probably we should have pushed for that more than the other one then, but either way, yeah. But outside of school, mate, run about with bad boys, doing bad things, and up to my neck in drugs and drink, and being a nuisance everywhere. I was arrested all the time, spent nights in cells, took home all the time by the cops. You know, I might have come home from school and there might have been cops waiting at my door, waiting to arrest me. You know, I was just causing havoc. I was unhappy, mate, you know, and when you're unhappy and you're in an unhappy environment and, you know, there's negativity going on inside the house and there's negativity going on outside the house. If you're a young boy at that age, you know, you're immature more than anything, you're going to do the opposite. You're going to fight back in the way you know how, which is distract and look for attention and look for whatever you can. So that's causing problems with police, causing problems with at home, causing problems in school. And yeah, I get fucking tortured, to be honest.
Would you have got a buzz? So, I'm sorry for interrupting you there, but just see when you were saying there the problems in school and the problems with the police and at home, would you have got a buzz off starting problems in terms of school and the police? Would you have actually thrived off it?
Absolutely. In school, yeah, all day long. My dad got my school record printed out whenever I moved to Australia, and he had a big house party. There was 200 people came to the house. The house is only a fucking 2 up, 2 down. It's a nice 2 up, 2 down, but it's still not big for 200 people. And we had a big house party. I ended up getting crowd surfed at it and all, like, but he got my school record printed on the wall, and it was on an A3 page, and it didn't even fit the A3 page. It was literally 3 years of lunchtime and after school detention, suspensions, like breaking rules, smoking in school, blah blah blah.
Sure, he got some grief off all the other teachers, like.
He did and didn't, because he taught in my school, but me and him had a part in ways when I was about first year, and you know, we're very very alike, me and my dad, very very alike. And what in turn happened with that was that I challenged him too, so I wouldn't take his authority at all. I fought back. I was fighting him all the time, trying to like whatever. And then so the whole way through school we didn't speak. So he was getting teachers. One of the teachers actually gripped me by the ear and dragged me up the whole way through school, like literally by the ear, dragged me the whole way up to his office. And he says, Liam, you sort him out. But Dad says, fuck do you want me to do about it? And he goes, he's your son. He's like, well, he hasn't spoken to me in 3 years. He was like, he's your kid. But then Dad pulled him away and says, dickhead, never fucking touch his ear again. Because, you know, he shouldn't be doing that anyway. But no, like, Getting a buzz out of it in school, yeah. What it was outside of school, mate, and I'll be totally honest with you. All the lads in my area, there was headers, there were generational headers, right? So the oldest boys were all maniacs. Like the boys, whenever they were
Old school hoods.
they were hoods, aye. And the next generation above them were a bit older than me. They were like 4 or 5 years older than me, and I was running about with them. And I had left my group of mates who were my age, who were like, say I was 12. So I was running about with 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds, and then I left them and started running about with the older boys. That was probably the worst mistake I could have made at that age, because they all had criminal records. They all were doing bad things and getting up to no good. So I was trying to earn my stripes.
Yeah.
I was trying to fit in. So I started doing that too. So it wasn't so much I got a buzz out of it. It was actually a fucking melt. Sure, you're going to the park to run about with your mates, and the next thing the cops pull up to arrest you. It's a bit of a melt. Like.
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
Was it ever intimidating, just being with an older group and feeling like you always had to kind of show your worth? Or
Well, it wasn't ever
stripes?
intimidating. And what actually happened with me was, like, I'm a firm believer that boys take longer to mature. It's science backs it anyway, but in all honesty with me, I was very, very immature. Right up until I was fucking late 20s, to be honest,
Yeah.
But whenever I look at that time, what I needed was, I needed my dad about me. I needed a man to lead me. But because me and him had parted ways, I was looking for the streets. I was looking for boys to lead me in the streets, and they were leading me down the wrong path, effectively.
Yeah.
So from there then, I looked up to them. But whenever you're the runt of a group, you get all the fucking torture. You get slagged. You get laughed at. You get called a spastic. You get called stupid. You get called every name under the sun, ugly, and all the rest of it. And that ground me down. So I'm sure you're aware. It ground me down to the point where then I tried to kill myself when I was 17, because all my enjoyment of life and all my like trying to like distract everybody and be Mr. Funny Man that I was doing when I was in my early teens completely disintegrated, because every day in, day out I was getting called names, getting treated like shite by boys older than me, and I never fit in. I remember one time I was at a party and everybody called me names, whatever, like retard and spastic and all that stuff there, and ugly cunt and all. And even two girls that I fancied that were in our group, I tried to chat to one of them. They were like, "Ew, get away from me, ugly cunt." And I remember just sitting there being really quiet on the sofa and just being like, what's the point of even speaking?
Yeah.
Like, nobody even wants to hear what I have to say.
How did you handle? Because mental health back then mightn't have been. Because I remember there was like a group of lads in Ardoyne. This is early 2000s, and I think 4 or 5 of them within the same friend group like killed themselves within 3 to 4 months. So there was a big thing about like mental health services that are needed, but they weren't there. See, when you were kind of going through this stage with your mental health, was there services there that you could go to, or were you just handling this all by yourself?
It's not funny, but funny enough you said that. There was 3 lads in my area, same thing, where they had a pact and they all took their own life as well. They felt hopeless as well. To be honest, I was put into different things. I had a youth diversion officer, so I was court ordered, so I was supposed to be the first person in my area to get an ASBO. And before that, they needed to see could a youth diversion officer help me. He was kind of like a buddy, so he took me out once a week to get a Subway or a sandwich or whatever. And then he was called Peter. He was a really, really nice fella, and he helped me kind of see how my behaviour wasn't good.
Yeah.
Things I was doing wasn't good. Stealing money on your brother isn't good. Treating your mum like shit isn't good. And he helped that a lot. But mental health services weren't there. Like, I was sent to a counsellor, but as you know, like, I personally, I believe there's a space for them. I don't believe that they go deep enough for the problems that are going on. So they just go, and how did that make you feel? And how did that make you feel? But if you don't tell them how it made you feel, you get nothing from it. So when you're a fucking teenager and you're being told called all the names of the day, you're not going to talk about how you feel. Do you know what I mean?
Especially, was that a male?
Yeah.
And the males are probably the ones that are doing the males like in your life are the ones that are actually giving you the abuse and stuff like that there in terms of the older lads. So what I was going to follow on with there, the man Peter. So you're not going to want to speak to someone who you don't know about your feelings, and especially if it's a male. But the man Peter, was he a positive male role model in your life?
Absolutely. Yeah, Peter, I credit a lot to Peter, to be honest. I've probably never talked about it before on any platform to anybody. Peter, I just remembered when we were talking about it there, Peter was an absolute legend. At that stage of my life, I needed him in my life. Yeah. And he did a lot of really good work for me, with me, sorry. He was somebody that in a world where my world was chaos, everything was chaos, inside the home, outside the home. I didn't really understand anything that was going on that was of any good.
Yeah.
All I just knew was you're useless at school. You're useless at everything. You're useless at fitting in. And Peter gave me some sort of a light to be like, you know, make better decisions, you know, try and change your life, try and change your decision making, and you might see a better outcome. I didn't listen to him properly at the time, but I realised now when I look back.
Nah, wee bit of a guru.
He was a mentor.
Aye.
I call it a buddy because when you're 15 or 14 or whatever, and you have this man coming to pick you up and you go for lunch with him and he talks to you, probably more of a buddy more than a mentor. But he was mentoring me. He was helping me out. Like,
see, when you were in school, the way that you were saying there that you had assistants and tests and stuff like that there. I remember when I was in school and people that had that there, they used to get fucking slagged like fuck.
Absolutely.
Would that have happened to you as well?
Well, I tried to be the hard man. So I had fights all the time in school. And I was trying to distract everybody and being Mr. Funny Man, Mr. Quick-witted guy, because you couldn't slag me because I was quicker. So even though but it was really what it boiled down to was because I knew I was stupid, or I felt stupid because I wasn't able to fit in. The school I went to was really high performing, so the kids all end up going to university and they go and get doctorates and shit, and they end up in that capacity. That wasn't me. I was never meant to be me. I was never being able to be told what to do. So going to a school that specifically specialises in you being told what to do and listening to orders, it ain't going to work for me.
100%. No. I was going to say it. See, when you were in school then, what was the kind of vision, or was there any vision of what you were wanting to do in the future? Did you have any goals or aspirations?
No, none whatsoever. I didn't have. You have to remember when you move to big school from wee school and you discover quickly within a month or so that you're not up to scratch, that you're way behind, and you become Mr. Rowdy in the class. Like, I was kicked out of every class ever, like kept behind, detentions, the whole lot. When you're that way, you just start thinking like, I'm just going to be a header. That's all I am. So like, obviously then I ran about with headers and I certainly became one, but my hopes weren't there. My hopes, what actually happened was once I tried to take my life then, and luckily I didn't, my ma had a conversation with me when I came back. I came back from holiday. I tried to take my life on my holiday, on my first lad's holiday. And when I came back, she had a conversation with me and she was like, look, Emmet, like, I promise you, if you change your surroundings, you change your friend group, you change what you're doing, I promise you'll start to see a change in you, because you don't understand how special you are. You don't understand what talent you actually have. And I was like, shut up, man. Oh, it's always going to be the same. And she was like, I am promising you, Emmet, you're a fucking shining light. You just don't see it yet. So I changed my friendship group. I went to tech and came into the tech class, and two boys that I grew up with who were in my age group that I had left were in the class with me. And I was like, lads, what's happening? And I was smacked out to the teeth. Like, do you remember back in the day, brown moccasins, like the kickers shoes?
Well, there's black ones.
I had the loafers, like, and the Jack Fred Perry shirts and all. I was like that, and the wee fringe and all.
Ben Sherman stuff and all.
Yeah, that was me in a nutshell. Yeah, and them boys were all Space Boys, and I went out and drink with them then that night, and they were like looking at me like I was a weirdo, and I remember being like, "Fuck's wrong with you?" and all. But then the next time we went out, I bought nicer clothes that tried to fit in from like River Island or something, and they were complimenting me. They were like, "I like your shirt." And I was like, "What? You fucking slagging me?" And they were like, "No, man, I was genuinely just complimenting you. I thought you looked good." I was so defensive because all I was used to getting was abuse and slobbering and everything else. So I was like, I couldn't understand this. That was when I started to change. That was when I started going to the gym, because it was a sports and fitness development class. You know,
what was the qualification in?
Sports and fitness development.
Sports and fitness. What would that be? Is that level?
It was level 3. And it was a 2-year course. And what happened was in there, then I started to go to the gym, and I figured that if I train my exterior, get myself more jacked, get myself like looking jacked, because I still thought it was really ugly, because everybody told me it was. So I thought it was really ugly. So I was like, if I get myself really jacked, at least people will respect me a wee bit more, because all I had was disrespect. So what actually happened then was I then did a PT course after that in level 3, and never did it because I didn't believe myself. Didn't believe myself because I never had that inner belief, and I partied for years. I was just going nowhere in life, doing shit job after shit job, up to my neck and things that I shouldn't have been doing, you know, and I just did dead-end jobs over and over again, just, I'll get this job for a bit, that kind of thing. And I went to Australia, came back, went to Australia, didn't work out, came back, went to Australia again, didn't work out, came back. And then it was only then in my late 20s, then my mad became a therapist. And then she was like, look, Emmett, I would love you to try this therapy that I do, like with my clients. And I was like, I'm not doing that mad shit and all, fuck off and all. And she was like, please, just try it. And I started to try it anyway. It's called EFT tapping, right? So you tap on points of your body, pressure points of your body. And what it does then is you repeat sentences over and over again. And after a while, something will come out. So she'll be like, has anything come to mind? And you'll be like, yeah, I have a memory from when I was like 9. Or I have a memory, something came up there whenever I was like 18, or whatever the case may be, whatever it is you're focusing on that day. And then you tap on that, the next thing your body releases that pain. So it might come out in burping, it might come out in coughing, it might come out in yawns, it might come out in crying. And what happens is your body is looking for the trauma. Once it finds the trauma, it pulls it out, and then once it's gone, it feels like somebody took a hoover and sucked it out of you. And it's amazing. That was where once I built the internal from doing that, then that was when I got goals in my life, and I was like, oh, right, I can actually do something here. I'm fucking good, right? Okay, Sharon, you're not shit. You are better than what you thought. You know what I mean?
Is that when the foundations of kind of the person that is here today were kind of laid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew, I was at my wit's end. When I was 28, I'd probably had about 50 jobs at that stage, like, and been to Australia twice and nothing was going. And I remember working in an office, and I always knew I was able to get people to like me. Like, when people got to know me, I was popular, like. Yeah. So, because even when in school, all the kids liked me, like, even though I was a complete distraction. I had to get moved class twice, out of my form class, because they were like, he's such a distraction. So I remember working in an office at one time. It was the civil service, and everybody on the floor all loved me, right? All the wee old biddies and all, they all loved me and all. And I remember looking around the room and being like, you have a gift here. Like, everybody in here is resting on every word you have to say. You have a gift, but how do you use it? You're meant to run a business. I remember thinking it really, really clearly. I remember being like, you're meant to run a business, and you will run one day, but you just don't know what yet. And it took for me to do that tapping, that was when my calling really came to me. But I had to do that inner work. I had to heal myself inwards, because when you go through that trauma for years, you have to heal that shit. You can't bury it, because it's going to come out.
See, just before we get into the likes of the PTing and the coaching and what you've done now, just want to go back to first your childhood. It's just basically what you've kind of learnt in that there period of your life about yourself. So I was just wanting to know, what's the biggest thing you've learnt about yourself between the ages of, say, 12 to 17, when you were kind of in that there dark period? And as well, was there any actual positive things about growing up in the Ormer Road at that time? Was there anything that you can walk away and go, fuck, you're out there, that's shaped me into the person, or that's given me kind of learning lessons from what it was like when I was younger?
I think when I learned about myself in that age was probably that I didn't have enough self-worth in me. So I was seeking my worth in other people. So that was where I was chasing being a cool kid. I was chasing kids thinking I was hard or whatever to try and fit in. So, and rather than now, I'm the opposite. Now, I could give a fuck what anybody thinks about me. So I look at that time of my life and be like, if only you knew then, you had in your locker, then you would have started off a lot quicker than what you did. But it doesn't matter when you start, it's when you end that matters, you know what I mean? And the thing that what was the second thing you asked me here?
So something that you kind of learnt, or no, a positive thing it was.
Positive thing?
A positive thing about growing up there, yeah.
Every single thing is positive. Every single thing. I thank God every day that all the challenges that came my way. And the reason why is because I wouldn't be who I am today if I hadn't have had them. It shaped me into who I am. It gave me more resilience. It gave me steel in my locker. It gave me fucking a bit of grit in me that other people ain't got. And I'm glad of it. So yeah, it was shite. Yeah, not every day was bad, but there was a hell of a lot of bad days. But glad of them, because for every cloudy day there's a fucking sunrise. You know what I mean?
100%. And that kind of follows on the next question is, do you regret anything? Would you change anything about that there? Because I'd be a firm believer in, like yourself, I don't regret a single thing, because everything, I mean, like some of the decisions that I've made, there's a few decisions in my life that I really think now, and I go, fuck, that was really against my character and values and principles, but it's all led me to where I am today. Without those decisions, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have the learning experience. I wouldn't have the life experience. would you change it, like, anything in your past?
Yeah, I would. Yes and no. I don't regret my life because, as I said, my life led me to who I am today. I do regret how I treated people in my life. You know, I treated my ma very poorly. My ma was in bed for nearly my entire teenage years. She was very unwell. She had chronic migraines, so she could be in bed for 3 weeks and couldn't get out. She was on these heavy painkillers and stuff, and she's really suffering. I made her life misery then, and I was so disrespectful, and I was so hurtful, and it was only then years later that, you know, obviously I'm very nice to her now and treat her well, and I'm very thankful of all the support she ever gave me. But yeah, I regret that. I don't regret other stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, I spoke to my dad sometimes. I would have been pretty harsh as well, but in all honesty, he was quick enough to give it, so he was quick enough to get it back.
Yeah.
You know, it's with my mum, she wasn't able for that. My dad grew up in the same road as me. He grew up around all them boys. He grew up doing the same thing, so he was used to all that. My mum was a wee country girl. She was a wee quiet, innocent girl. She married into it. She's from Tyrone. So she married into that. She wasn't used to that, you know, whereas I grew up that. My dad grew up with that, so that chaos sort of stuff was more normal.
Yeah.
So I don't really regret it with him as much, and it's not on him. It's just because she's fucking not able for it. She had to become able for it, but she wasn't.
I'd say that's learning on the job there.
Absolutely.
Because especially, like, we culture towns or towns in the fucking on the countryside, they're completely different. Even just their lingo, their way of life.
Her side of family don't swear. Where my dad's side, like, you come into my granny, be like, "Fuck off, will you?" And all. No.
Would they be Christians on your?
Aye, well, they're Catholics on both sides. Aye, but they're quiet country people compared to the other side, which is the opposite. Do you know what I mean? And that would be more what I regret. Just how I treated her and anybody else who tried to show me care and love at that time, and I didn't really receive it well. I probably tortured people in school that probably didn't deserve it as well. But I mean, I didn't mean it in a bad way. I mean, anybody I ever seen get bullied, I was the first to fucking lump the person bullying them. So I probably would have been bullying out of a case of love, no, like showing a wee bit of like friendly bantering, but probably not realising that probably somebody didn't receive it well then either.
That's what Henry, he's the owner of Ardoin MMA.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Caine, I only slag you because I love you.
I love
because if I didn't slag you, it means I wouldn't like you."
Yeah, absolutely.
That makes sense.
That would have been my logic then, but I'm sure there would have been people who now 15, 30, 20 years later feel the opposite and be like, "Oh, it's all well and good him being Mr. fucking nice guy online now. He wasn't that nice to me." But all I trying to show is that I wasn't happy within myself. 100%. So it was not on anybody. Nobody deserved it. I was just struggling.
Yeah. We all go through our own struggles as well. Hey everyone, Caine here from Mentality Monsters. Time to talk about today's sponsor. If you love the thrill of winning big, then you need to check out Our Kings Competitions, the UK and Ireland's top spot for incredible praise competitions. They're giving you the chance to win luxury cars, dream holidays, top tech, and even life-changing cash prizes, all for a fraction of the cost. And what's the best part of this? Entering is super easy, so you just need to go on, select your competition, grab your tickets, and then you're in for a shot at winning big. With guaranteed winners in every draw and some of the most amazing prizes out there, Our Kings is the place to be if you want to turn a little into a lot. So, what are you waiting for? Head over to www.ourkingscompetitions.com now and grab your tickets, and you could be our next big winner. That's Our Kings Competitions, where dreams become reality, and enter today. So Emmet, there previously on the break we were discussing about the kind of stuff that you would get up to as a young person at the age of 12, and I just wanted to know psychologically what that was like for a young person, because I've seen kids myself. It's mad now, like even how accessible drugs are now for kids. Like you can hear about it and they're like, fucking kids 14, 15 on coconut and stuff like that there. I don't know where they afford it, like, because that's fucking mad. But what was it like for you being in that environment?
Well, I started smoking weed when I was 10. I took my first E. I was about to say Barney. Took my first E when I was 14. Coke, MD, ecstasy, even sniffed petrol, sniffed glue, sniffed aerosols at very young, like maybe 13, 14, around that mark. I just was going completely off the rails. I was just on self-destruct. So how it affected me psychologically was it stole brain cells. I'd love to see how dangerous it'd be if I fucking had them brain cells, for fuck's sake. But well, I mean, look, that stage of my life, I was a lost soul. I was a lost child who needed help, and the help was just not there, or the capacity wasn't there to handle me at that time. So it is what it is. I don't regret it really. I never really think about it anymore, apart from when I have to talk about my life. So,
see, you started PTing yourself. Was it your home gym? You had a home gym?
Yeah, I'll tell you about that. So what happened was, I got my qualification right after I did my sports and fitness development course. I did another year and did that, but I never had any self-belief in myself. I never believed I was going to do it. I actually thought that if I got a job in a gym, the other PTs would laugh at me and be like, he don't know what the fuck he's doing. So that's why I did other jobs. Every other job. Did butler in the buff, worked on building sites.
Butler in the buff, something that I want to talk about later on. Like,
it's all right, you can ask away. Did butler in the buff, building sites, call centres, civil service, you name it, I did it. And none of them ever stuck because I was never good at being told what to do. So I then moved to Australia, and that was where I did.
Was that the first time?
Yeah. And then I came back and had a job going nowhere as well, no permanent contract or nothing. And I knew I was partying all the time, every weekend, just wasting my weekends. So then I decided I was going out to Australia again. I'm fucking it. I'm going back out. Sold my car, got rid of all my winter clothes, just only had summer clothes, and I had 2 visas. I had a temporary Aussie one and a Canadian visa. And it was more permanent. It was a 2-year visa. So I was like, I'll go to Oz. If it doesn't work out, then I'll go to Canada. That was in January 2020. Whenever March 2020 hit and COVID hit the world, Oz was the last to shut down. So we were still out in Paddy's Day and all yous were all shut down. And we were laughing, being like, all them are drama queens. And I got an email from the Irish Embassy, 3 or 4 emails from them being like, Emmet, you need to get home. You're not safe there. We know you're on a temporary visa. You have to get home. And I was fighting it. Like, so I looked at a flight to Canada then. And I was like, if I have to go somewhere, I'll go to Canada. So as I was booking my flight then, the radio was on and said Canadian border's now shut. And I was like, bollocks, I have to fucking go home. So I ended up back in the Ma's house. I had to spend $4,000 to get home because it was an emergency flight. It was a chartered flight, so it was the last one they were doing. So it would cost me a bomb to get it.
Fly back to Dublin or Belfast?
Dublin, and it was obviously, that was my last $4,000, so I had nothing. So I ended up back at my Ma's house with no car, no money, and not even any trousers. And I was like, you're 28 and you've got fuck all going for you. And all I'd done so far in my life was party and be the funny guy and used to be a hood and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you're going to have to do something. So I got a job. I asked my dad, could I borrow his car and do Chinese deliveries in my local Chinese? And he says, yeah, it's dead on, you do that. So I started doing deliveries and I went on my social media then advertising the Chinese. I kept laughing and all, being like, you fat bastard, I know you're around there drinking wine and all, you just want a Chinese, you don't want to cook the night, fuck off and all. I was playing on the fact that they were all locked down, they all were drinking over, so they all started ordering like mad. What happened whenever you were out in the elements during COVID? You were then driving around, everybody's clapping, cheering you, tipping you like fuck. I was taking that money then and started buying gym equipment. I started building a bit of a home gym. Wasn't a proper gym at the time, was only just an idea. So I started building this gym anyway. And then I started, once I stopped doing the Chinese deliveries and I properly built it, then I started using my social media to attract clients to work with.
Yeah.
But I figured if I PT at the house, nobody will know that I'm shite at it. And then if I'm good at it, sure, it worked out. But either way, I'm safe because nobody's going to see me. So I started PTing, I started getting results, started doing pretty well at it. And I was like, all right, you can do this. So then I was looking on my social media, and if you remember at that time, there was 2 main guys that were blowing up on social media, and it was Tony McAlevey and Sean Casey. And I remember seeing them and being like, fuck me. Like, if they're younger than me, like, I can do it if they can do it. Then I seen Tony had a mentorship, and I waited till he opened the doors for it, and I messaged straight away. I was like, yo, I want to get on board. And he was like, much you making a month? I was making £700 a month. I told him I was making $4,000 a month, so that I got into the tier that I wanted to. I was like, whatever happens, I'm fucking getting in the door because I can do this. So I never told Tony for like, I don't know, like a year or something. And then I had hit a month. I had hit a really successful month with money, and they had me as a like on the stage and doing an interview. It was a client hot seat. It was basically like they were like, look at Emmet, he's a star player, blah blah blah. And the funny thing about it was I told him before, I was like, you know when you are posting my earnings and blah blah blah, like I actually lied. Right, I wasn't on $4,000 a month. I was actually on 700 quid, and he was
What, he
like,
said that?
"Fuck me." He was like, "Fuck me, you're a header from the get go." And I was like, "Mate, by hook or by crook, I'm getting in the door." Like,
You have to do what you have to do.
yeah, I know, that's it. So from there, then it gave me the belief, it gave me the systems, it gave me the ability to scale a business, to run a business, and to basically give value to clients, so that then whenever they're hiring me, when they put their faith in me, I'm giving them a fucking excellent service. But if I hadn't hired people that were in the position I wanted to be in, I never got there.
How did you initially actually advertise yourself to get clients? How did you get the word out there? And was there any mistakes you actually made as well?
Loads of them. So whenever I was PTing in my house, I was just posting up, as every PT does, clients training, and me training the odd time, and clients training, just showing I'm a PT, look at me, I can PT you. Whenever it comes to the online world, you don't want people wanting your time, because you're an online coach, so you don't want people wanting you to count reps in the gym. You want to be able to show that you can give value to them without being physically with them. So it's a lot more complicated. So initially, when I joined that mentorship, they had modules on how to create content, how to edit content, all that stuff. I posted content every day for 9 months straight before I got one client. My local road where I'm from is a very close-knit community. All the Catholic families from there were in the minority, because the Upper Arm Road was a loyalist area. Yeah. So there was a handful of Catholic families. So all us families all know each other. We're very close, generational friends. And I was getting ridiculed. Like, I would be going down the road having a pint and getting slagged. Fuck me, here's your man still making them videos everywhere I look. Here's your fucking bacon on. It was all the time. And when you're not getting clients and you're posting, putting yourself out there, it's very, very disheartening when you're not getting the inquiries, when people aren't taking you seriously. It only took me years later to then realise that, it's because you were a fucking rocket for so long, such a header, that no wonder they weren't going to invest in you. I mean, you were one way for so long. So that's where I gradually started to change from party boy, maniac, doing all that stuff, to somebody that barely even drinks now. Don't drug, don't do anything, like, you know.
Say you've took enough in your lifetime to actually focus the last few lifetimes.
Well, that's it, more than most.
And do you remember your first kind of, now this is before going into the online coaching, but the first kind of success that you had where you thought to yourself, fuck no, I'm good at this, like I can make a career?
I knew I had the ability. I just needed the guidance to do it. So, like, in them 9 months, I did everything. I tried to be Sean Casey, I tried to be Tony McAlevey, I tried to be James Smith, I tried to be everybody else but me. And it was when I realised that you need to be honest to you, and you need to be true to yourself, tell your story, tell people who the fuck you are, that then they're more likely to buy you because you're being honest. So I had been 6 months of posting content every day at this point, 8 months, sorry, and there was an event in Marbella, and Tony, Sean, everybody was doing talks at it. And I remember looking around the room, and everybody was like 4 years, 5 years younger than me, some of them 10. They had way bigger businesses than me. I had no clients, like. And I remember looking around and being like, you've more personality, you're a fucking wee finger than these people. Like, you can do this, you just need to learn how. So that's no slight on them, by the way. Everybody, there's room in the market for everybody. But for me, I just looked at it like that. I was like, you have ability here. You just need to fucking utilise it. So I wrote 2 reels that were out there, and they both went completely viral. One was, I've been in Marbella for the last week, getting fucked up on the swell, and I've got a beta in 1 month's time, and I want to be the most ripped cunt in Ocean Beach. That line sent over 1 million views on a reel, because it was all hate. It was all 1 million people hated me, like they were all like, fuck that wanker. But it worked. The next one after that was, I fucking love the crack. I love having a boogie on a swell. And it was me partying and blah, 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 and it was me telling a story about how I went from that to the other. Them 2 reels went viral as fuck, and I started to get a following then, and I was like, all right, people actually like you. So then I started posting more valuable stuff rather than just posting, throwing shit at the wall and hoping something stick. And then I did a week where I started saying, I've got my doors open, would you like to work with me? And it was a week straight, and I lifted like 25 clients in that week, and I went from nothing to like 25, and I was like, oh fuck, big man can't do this. Yeah. Once you get a bit of it, then you go, all right, you can't do this shit.
And then what did you kind of learn? So see, when you jumped onto the mentorship, is that solely for online to build your kind of clientele, the transition online, or was that for actual PTs that are still PTing themselves, like on the floor?
So it was a mixture of both. I mean, there was people there who were hybrid, who were online and PT. There was PTs there was gym owners there, but solely and mainly it was to teach you how to become an online coach and run an online business. What I do firmly believe is that all online coaches can PT, but not all PTs can online coach. And that's no slight at PTs, because there is a place in the market for them. People need their handheld.
Yeah.
People need that. They need their reps counted. They need that motivation. They need shouted at. But where the thought process comes from is that PTs all see the online coaches, well, it's me or Tony or whoever, doing the videos, Sean Casey, and they see the life and they go, I want that too. They don't realise that in order to get your personality across, in order to give value to clients, you need to have a strong USP. You need to have something that sells, a unique selling point. If you're bland, if you're just talking about, here's 3 tips about this, here's that, people's attention span is nothing, so they aren't going to pay attention. So that's first and foremost. Next is, you need to be able to coach somebody to the point without standing with them. You need to be able to monitor and take data and offer them value without ever standing with them to get them a result. And not everybody's able to do that, because it's down to communication. Yeah. It's down to how much can you communicate without ever being with them. I have a client there, did a photo shoot this morning. She lives in Australia, and her and her husband are both clients of mine. And I met them for the first time after a year in the summer. She's just done a photo shoot today. She's 41. And she's a mother of 2 kids. She couldn't have done that without me in her corner, but at the same time, without vision coaching really in her corner, but at the same time, she never fucking met me. She was already on cruising for this photo shoot by the time I met her. So you have to have an ability to offer a service. And the main thing really boils down to is you're running a fucking business. People don't understand this because they think, I can count reps. I'm good at getting results. Why aren't I an online coach? I deserve more. And I understand the thought process. But really, when you become an online coach, all of a sudden, you now need to become a limited company. All of a sudden, you're getting hit with VAT. All of a sudden, you need to outsource things. You need to hire people. You need to run a business. It's not like taking money for an hour in the gym. That's what sets the two apart. And that's what you learn on a mentorship. It's a business mentorship. It's teaching you how to run a business.
Is it more time, say, consuming? Because it seems like, I would say, vision coaching has a lot of clients worldwide.
Yeah.
Is it more time consuming on the gym floor or time consuming online?
Equally as time. Equally as time consuming. So on the gym floor, you can't scale that to higher than what it is. If you can only do 40 hours a week, that's all you can do. If you can do 50 hours a week, that's all you can do. What you can do, though, is if you build up enough of a client base, is opening your own gym. That's the next step for you.
Yeah.
When it comes to online coaching, it's scalable to the point of no return. You can have thousands of clients if you want them, but you need to have the systems in place. You need to have the structure in place, and you really need to have the staff in place to be able to handle them, because no one person can't handle them.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me. So I had EPT Belfast, which was just me. It was a one-man band. I did everything. I did the content, the editing, the content creation.
It's a lot of things to juggle.
The coaching, the systems, the app, the whole lot. I did all of that myself. And I started to get too many clients and found that when I got too many clients, I couldn't handle them all. So I was like, how can I help more people? How can I get more people the help they need? Because I'm sick to fucking death of seeing people trying Manjaro, Ozempic, fucking Slimming World, Juice Plus, insert whatever shite that they try, failing, giving up, and then going, oh, sure, all them people are the same. So I was like, how can I get as much people as possible to actually change their life? So I was like, well, first and foremost, women don't trust men. They just don't. So I was like, I need a female coach. I looked at the female coach in the industry who I'd become friends with for a long time and how talented she was. She's called Leah Mullen. I looked at her and her results and I was like, she's fucking amazing at this. But content wasn't her bag. She wasn't able to do the content thing or market herself. So I was like, look, Leah, I'm very good at marketing. I'm very good at that side of things. And you can see I can get results. So I was like, how about we amalgamate together? We create a safe space for women to come in who follow me, who don't realise that I actually have a head female coach now. But behind the scenes then, I have another guy there who's my operations manager, and he runs the show. He makes sure that we're all doing things. Yeah, I'm the head honcho. It's my business. It's my word is final. But without him, he's my consigliere.
Yeah.
He's my right-hand fucking man. And without him, I couldn't do what I do. Because as I was saying to you, I was reading a book by PBD, Patrick Pat David, and he discusses, it's your next 5 moves is what it's called. And he discusses every man ever that has achieved greatness has had his consigliere. He's had a number 2 who keeps him in line, who makes sure his head's right. Whenever he's getting emotional about decisions, the number 2 tells him what to fucking do.
Yeah, no, I like that there. Actually, so I'm on now with Justin. Do you know who Justin trains around? Justin Mulligan.
Oh yeah, Justin's class, yeah.
Aye, so Justin's my
Justin and me
business
went to the
coach
same
now.
school.
I hear absolute fucking legend, but he
a really good
recommended
lad.
me a book, Who Moved My Cheese, and it sounds like a kid's book, but it's all about adapting in life, and just like the only thing in life is, or the only thing like constant in life is change. There's change, like everyone, like, and nothing stays the same. But he recommended that there, and I'd see just a book that's 80 pages long completely transformed the way that I look at things and the way that I adapt myself to certain scenarios and the changes that are going on in life. But I'm definitely going to get on and have a read of that there book that you just said there. I think that's fucking, that there will be really beneficial to me, and see especially just growing and stuff like that there, because we're always constantly on a journey of growth. And your journey, like, let's say 5 years ago, if you says where you're sitting now, you'd probably fucking laugh or something like that there, or did you have belief that you would get to this stage?
Hard to know. I mean, as I said, yeah, I remember sitting in an office and going, "You're meant for better."
Yeah.
But what started off as an idea, building a gym at my house, hopefully I get a couple of clients. I then realised that you can't stand your garage forever more. You need to do more than this. So I was like, I didn't have belief. The belief kind of came as I started to make more decisions. So as I started to build things, I think if you have an idea in your head, my advice to anybody would be to fucking go for it. Like, I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? Somebody's going to slag you. Sure, they're probably going to slag you for not doing it anyway. Do you know what I mean? So go for it anyway. You won't know till you try. I wouldn't have knew. I was probably getting laughed at whenever I was doing the Chinese delivery ads. But at the end of the day, it was getting me coin in the door,
100%.
and it was getting me enough money to be able to buy gym equipment that then ended up allowing me to build client bases. Once I had a client base, then I was able to scale it more and get online clients. Then I could leave the gym floor. Then I was able to build it more again and build vision coaching from that. But you have to have ideas. If you have no thoughts, if you've no direction whatsoever, then what I would suggest is think about what you enjoy doing. The one thing that I loved throughout my life, throughout all the header years, everything, was the gym. And I was like, I just love making myself feel better and look better. Yeah. So I was like, I'd go to the gym, and I was like, that's what I enjoy doing. So I'm going to make that my job. So I love my job, where I think if you're lost, you're 29, you're 34, you're whatever age, and you're going to a job you don't like, and you're coming home to a house that you're not that happy in, changes is the only thing you can do. So lean into what it is you do like, and I guarantee you there's ways to make money in that.
I think it's really smart what you've done as well. That girl Leah, she's from Dublin, is that correct?
Yeah, she's actually from Drogheda, but she lives in Dublin. She sounds like a Dubliner, to be fair. Her best mate's from Northside, so she has a bit of a twang.
You've got so you're hitting up here, and then you're hitting down the Free State, and no, I mean, it seems, I'd say you're probably, have you been getting much meals from down there come on with you, or is it just people fucking up here, Australia, and kind of?
It's actually a mixture. I mean, with everything, whenever you do a rebrand and you do a restructure and you do what we did, which is create a completely new thing, which there isn't many coaching companies out there like Vision, but in my opinion, they don't have the vision, pardon the pun. But the way we have gone so far has been a mixture of northern, southern, and people all over the world. But what we're finding is we're getting better clients. We're getting the people that we want to work with. Yeah. So we produce exceptional results. I mean, you've seen the page, you've seen the results. They are fucking class. Yeah. And the way I look at it is, you hire us, you hire once. You hire somebody else, you go cheap, you go twice. And I learned them lessons. You know, that happens. Now we've made it so affordable. So we have really high tier stuff, and we have really, really low budget, low tier stuff. It's about how much you want. Yeah. You know, it's about helping the masses. So if you want the fucking stuff that's like really, really hands-on, really, really detailed, really in-depth, then you're going to pay for it, because it requires time and effort to do that, and systems and access to platforms. Like we have our own app in the App Store, and we have a school platform with loads of resources on it, daily tips, daily updates, blah, blah, blah. We also have WhatsApp groups. We offer a lot of value to clients, but you're going to, at the end of the day, invest in that. Whereas if you want just a plan, you want something to go by, we have that too, which is low tier, which is more affordable, it's easier for you. You know, it's just to try and cater for everybody.
Do you trust a lot? Because I mean, with this here, you need to trust the person who's on the other side of the screen to actually hold themselves accountable and actually do what you're telling them to do. Do you find that easy, or can you easily tell if someone's fucking bluffing?
I'm exceptionally good at catching out bluffers. So people mistake what an online coach is. They think that it's about fitness and nutrition. Yeah, that's a part of it. Mine's is actually an amalgamation of fitness and nutrition and life coaching. So I get into every single aspect, every barrier that you have in your life. I want to know about it because that's a barrier that's stopping you from getting from A, where you are now, to B, where you want to get to. So the more honest you are with me, the more I can break those barriers down. So whether it's your missus yapping at you about going to the gym because she wants you to sit at home with her, that's a barrier because you're not going to the gym because she's yapping at you. Whether it is your mates trying to get you out in the weekend partying, I need to know that shit because if I know it, then I can fucking set a reminder on my phone to DM you and be like, yo, dickhead, you're not drinking tonight. But if I don't know that, then the numbers will show. So on your check-ins every week, it's all trends, it's all data-based. So everything is numbers. So if I'm giving you exact tools in order for you to get the result in that week and the result isn't coming back, I can spot the trend straight away and be like, you tell me porcupines, big lad.
It's like that video with Paddy.
Exactly.
Videos are fucking class.
Paddy was my client.
Was he?
Yes, he was my client last year. He came on January last year until about October. He lost a load of weight. He was an exceptionally hard worker. Paddy is... I know Paddy in loads of fronts now. I know everything about him. I've met his kids, I've met his wife. You know, I know his life.
Yeah.
Off screen. Paddy's great crack and he's full of beans and he is exactly who he is on stage. But I know the real him and I know how hard worker he is. He puts graft in. The guy worked so fucking hard and his health was the problem. As you know, his new show's called Gout's Out.
Yeah.
His gout is a torture and his first month on board with me, I did hours of research trying to find how to help gout, how to stop it, how to heal it for him, because that was a barrier for him. Inevitably, after 8, 9 months, 10 months, whatever it was, I actually just says to him, I was like, look, mate, there's no point me charging anymore because I can't find the solution for what it is here. And that's all right. It's all right for somebody to say, do you know what? Like, I'm not the right person for you. And he's still looking for the solution now. He finds days where he's good, but he said to me, I was on his pod on Wednesday, and he said to me, like, I made sure I got off a plane, my fucking gout's up again. And I was like, you are absolutely tortured.
But I think it's amazing to see them comedians, no matter what they do, if their parent has just died or fucking someone's broke bad news to them and they have to go out on stage, they still have to perform for it. And that takes that's brave there.
There's mutual respect, mate, because I'm the same. Do you think I tell my audience how hard my life's going? How shit things are going? There's shit days, like not every day's fucking good. This week here was one of the worst weeks I've had in ages. I was putting so much pressure on myself because whenever you're the head of the business, you feel like the world's on your fucking shoulders. So, but do I tell my audience? No. Do I just show up and post content and be Mr. Sound guy and give value? Yeah, even though it can be fucked. It's the exact same thing. So that's why me and him created that friendship because he got it. We get it. You know, you have to put on your brave face like anybody. You know, if you work in whatever job, you have to still show up every fucking day, even if you couldn't be arsed and you don't want to. You're in the army. Do you get to say, oh, well, I'm having a bad day, corporal or sergeant or whatever?
Absolutely not.
No.
They don't give a fuck. See, as well, are you able to delegate? Because I know some people, like, especially being the head of the business, you have to delegate, you have to fucking...
It's really, really hard.
Do you like just being hands-on and fucking making sure everything's... Because at least if you're doing it, you know it's done right. You know it's done the way that you maybe want it. But I find it hard, just even because I do all the podcast stuff and now I'm doing all the bottle ready stuff and shit like that there. And I find it very hard to delegate as well, like just in general.
I find it exceptionally hard to delegate because I'm probably a micromanager when it comes to my business. It's my baby. I built it. So, yeah, I find it really, really hard to let go. And that's why I end up putting pressure on myself because I end up trying to spin too many plates, which is exactly why I built out the team in order for me not to have to do that. So, but it's one of them things. I mean, at the minute, we have 6 coaches being primed who are clients who are being primed to come in to work in our business in the next year because the business will be scaling to that level. So, like, right now, we're in the weeds because it's only starting off. So, I'm doing more workload than probably I would like to. In time, each and every client of mine will have been a graduate from vision coaching anyway. So they know what the ethos is, they know what it's fucking about, and there's nobody I'm going to trust more than somebody who fucking worked hands-on with me or Leah to do it.
See, before we move on to kind of, I want to go into your philosophy of your style of coaching and just your mindset in general, is that we were speaking before about Tony, and obviously there's been some really good reports of Tony, some bad reports of Tony. You have worked with him yourself, so can you give me kind of your honest opinion on that mentorship program itself and the kind of benefits that you have gained from it?
Two answers there, one on Tony as a man and one as the mentorship itself. The mentorship was exceptional for me. Now, was it initially? No. Whose fault was that? Numero uno here. It wasn't anybody else's. It was my fault. I tried to leave after 2 months because I thought it was too hard, and I blamed the mentors. And I went to a family friend about it, and she's exceptionally good at business. Many, many businesses. She's mates with Justin, your mentor, and she said to me, Emmet, I've got one question before we try and get you out of this contract. Have you done it? And I was like, not all of it. Like, I've done some of it. And she was like, let me see it. She went through it all. She was like, this looks amazing. Do it for 3 months. And if you don't see any return on anything, then come back to me. I tried to leave anyway. And Tony voice noted me himself. And he says, Emmet, I'm fucking serious about this. He's like, you're a sleeping giant. You don't know what you're capable of here, and I'm not willing to let you go. He was like, it's not about the fucking money for me. He was like, I'm telling you, I know what the fuck you can be. He's like, you've got something special in you, and you can do it. So he was like, again, implement, and I did, and the proof is in the pudding. I got what I wanted. Tony as a man, so Tony was my mentor for 2.5 years. After a year, I hired him as my coach as well. I looked at it like this. This guy is in the position that I want to be in. He gets the results that I want to get. Well, I want to fucking learn from him. So it's easy for people to blame somebody because they didn't get the result they wanted, but it's always about looking inward and dropping your ego a wee bit and going, did I do something here? Was it something that I didn't do? So I hired Tony as a coach as well then, and he coached me, got me the best thing of my life, and it taught me more than most how to coach properly. So Leah showed me the basics on how to coaching when I first met her. Tony got me to be an exceptional coach and get results like I do, and he does. So I often wondered, would Tony remain in contact with me when I stopped paying him? When I stopped hiring him as my mentor, when I stopped hiring him as my coach, and I parted ways on both. Tony has reached out to me every week, if not every fortnight, even while he's going through all this shit, to check how I'm doing. Literally texted me yesterday, check how my head is. How are you doing, mate? How's business going? What's going on? How can I help you? I genuinely believe that Tony and Stephen both changed my life, but Tony himself was the one who really helped change my life, and he was a massive part of it. And while I appreciate that some people had bad experiences, I do also believe that I was a victim when I joined, and I blamed them. And I didn't do the work, and I didn't get the result because it was them. And I do believe that if you're given the blueprint, if you're given the tools, if you're given the exact step-by-step on how to build a house and you don't put the bricks together in that order, I do believe it is on you. Now, there's obviously cases where it mightn't be, and people did get really emotional about contracts and stuff, and it's not my job to go into all that or to say about it, really. But in my experience of the two of them, they were both excellent, and I've joined other mentorships since, and I compared and contrasted. The mentorship was fucking unbelievable compared to them, so I credit the two of the boys. They were amazing, and it's not because, I have some special I got looked after. Yeah. I hated Stephen for the first 6 months. He'd tell you that himself. Me and him are great now, but I didn't like it. I didn't like him then because I didn't understand him. I blamed Tony because I was like, well, he fucking showed me he could do it, and I didn't do it. Really, when I look back at it, I was like, well, it's because I wasn't doing it. I wasn't doing what I needed to do. The thing is as I said earlier on the podcast, I alluded to it earlier, you have to have a USP. You have to have something about you in order to attract people online to want to work with you online. And I do think that the mentorship probably gave hope to too many people. It told too many people that they could do it because it's understandable. Yeah. People see the dream and they fucking want it. Want a piece of the pie, but they don't realise the nitty-gritty that comes with it, that you have to fucking post every day, you have to content every day, you have to then structure your content around how to get people to believe in you and buy from you. People have said to me before, here, it's really easy what you do fuck all. And I hand them my phone and say, Is it I? Motivate me. Motivate me to pay you £1,000 now. Motivate me. Do it. And they go, what do you mean? I'm like, well, if it's that easy to get your message across, to get people to part with their money, to hire you without ever seeing them, well, then do it. Show me. And then they go, I don't know what to fucking do. And I'm like, well, exactly.
I think a lot of people actually think that PTing and online like coaching isn't actually a real job. Like there's a lot of people that kind of have that there.
That's what it is, yeah.
That outlook, and it's actually even just I've only been in like the industry the past 4 months, and fuck, it's a lot of long days and fucking up at 8:30 in the morning, fucking not getting into the house till fucking 9:30 at night, stuff like that. There, like it's a long old shift, like, but like as you discussed before, or we discussed actually off camera, the kind of you posting every day for 9 months, consistency, perseverance, character building. You know what I mean? You'll reap the rewards eventually down the line if you keep like giving it out. With the like mentorship, you were saying that you went to a mentorship after. Do you constantly have a mentor yourself, even though you're a mentor for fucking a lot of people? Do you have one?
At the minute, no. I mean, as I said to you, like Tony will ask me about business. He reaches out and checks on me, despite that I don't pay him anymore. So that's why I credit him for because he's remained my friend. He still gives a fuck after the fact. So when you stop paying somebody and they still reach out, it shows that they actually did care about you. Yeah. I hired other mentors because I wanted to get to a point where I was able to run it and scale it to a different level. I hired people that were nowhere near qualified, and they missold me. And I was out a lot of money, dropped $8,000 on them, and I got no return on investment whatsoever. It is what it is. You take these hits. This is business. This is how it goes. No risk, no reward. Do I sit there and boo-hoo about it? No fuck. Do I get on with it? Yeah. So very next month then, I sat with my operations manager and I was like, this is exact. And we worked out exactly what we needed in order to get the business from where it was to where I wanted to get to be able to offer the value to clients that we do. And from there, the next day I saw adverts, and the adverts were a list that we had on our whiteboard of exactly what we were looking for. And I was like, here, mate, I think that's it there. That's it. We hired them. They weren't mentors. They were offering a service. And they're really good. Jake Outwork, he was in our group for a wee while. I'm sure you might have heard of him. Yeah. They were really, really good. And I couldn't fault them. They're amazing. They are class at doing what they do. So yeah, at the minute, no. At the minute, I don't really feel like I need mentored. Now, with everybody, you can always scale and grow and get better. Right now, it's about steadying the ship and bringing a business to the point. And when you need mentored, when you need somebody in your corner, the most in business anyway, it's when you don't know what your next move is, because you can't work out the wood through the trees. You can't work out what the next move is. So then you're like, you go to somebody who is in the position that you want to be in or has been, and then they help you. Right now, we know where the business is going and what it needs to do. It's just about doing it. In time, I will hire mentors again. Yeah. When I've reached that plateau and I need to go that next stage, that's when I will hire mentors again. So I'm always in the market to be. I believe if you drop your ego and you ask for help, you will get it. And so yeah, sometimes you might make mistakes and hire the wrong ones. And some people feel like that about Tony, and that's understandable. I get that. For me, it was not experience. Yeah. He changed my fucking life. Do you know what I mean? So for every yin, there's a yang.
So your philosophy, you're a man of wise words, many quotes. I love that one. Do as I say, not what I do.
Aye, to be fair, that's more of a banter one. Like, that's not my philosophy. Fucking shit. That's just bread and butter.
You're like a modern day Marcus Aurelius. But your philosophy, I'm not too sure if you do have a philosophy or a set of values or principles that you kind of live your life by or put your business by. But do you have a philosophy? And if you do, what is it?
Yes and no. I mean, I'm now that you've said that, I'm going to go home and write it. But what I would say is, one, drop your ego. You're not as good as you think you are. You can get better if you fucking listen. So drop your ego, ask for help. You're not as good as you think you are because you think you're the best. Yeah. How many lads you ever hear say, oh, I know what I'm doing in the gym, it's just a dad. First thing I say is, here, what would you do with me? I don't know about that. Like, I'm like, well, if you know what you're doing in the gym, you must know what you could do with me. Yeah. You obviously don't know, so you're not as good as you think you are. Ask for help, because when you drop the ego and you ask for help, you get it.
100%. I think you need to be like I always try to go into every scenario like a sponge, or every situation like a sponge, just trying to absorb as much knowledge as I can, just because you can learn something from every single person, no matter if you think that person is lacking intelligence academically. Usually people that have intelligence academically, their street smarts are fucking unbelievable. I mean, you can learn from everybody.
One of my really, really good friends is a bad boy from a bad area and got up to his neck with bad boys, put it like that. Can't read or write. He's worth mega dough. Has about 40 houses to his name. He's in a property game. Can't read or write. I don't equate intelligence by letters at the end of your name, because you going to university is really good. Going and further on and getting a master's and a doctorate is really good. But it also means that you're just really good at taking information and regurgitating it on a page. How much free thought did you have in that? You know, he wasn't good academically, but in my opinion, he's winning at life. He doesn't have to work very fucking hard, but he's earning a lot of fucking dough. So I never look at somebody's qualifications or what they're about. I listen to what they have to say.
See, most of the successful people, which I know around my age, they're people that actually didn't go to uni. They're the ones that went to tech and done fucking a tradie or
vocational work.
They went, and then they were straight out from the age of maybe 19, 20. They're actually straight out doing jobs, and now they're reaping the rewards because they've been working now for 8, 9 years. And I mean, there's people that are still paying their student debts and all and stuff like that there, I think. And especially like what you're doing now, a car like that there, you're doing something right. See the car this man rocked up is fucking I'm saying nothing.
I still have the fucking cheesy beats on though.
Banging. So see, when it comes to your mindset, I would say with all the experiences you've been through, you've forged yourself a strong set of values and a strong set of principles, and then your mindset as well, your beliefs. Do you have an experience that kind of forged you as a person? Just one that you can think of that has made you into the person that you are today and give you hope and kind of said to yourself, right, I have resilience because of this event here, or I've got I'm inspirational or motivational because of this event here.
Okay, it wouldn't be one singular event. It would be a combination of loads. My work ethic comes from when I did my farm work in Australia. So whenever you want to get your second year visa, you have to do farm work. My farm work was called banana humping, right? So it's not what people think. It's not humping, although I was pretty good at that too. But what it was similar to the army, I would imagine. Very, very physical, very difficult work. Up early, and you were brought to paddocks, right? Long, long rows of banana trees, and they would have 80 kg, 90 kg bunches on them. You had to walk with a man who would have a machete, and he'd chop the bunch down. You'd catch it on your back. You had to run through mucky trenches and put it onto a tractor and run back and do it again. It felt like somebody was beating you with a hammer on your shoulder over and over again. And whenever you caught the bunch, there might be 9, 10 rats run down your face. I was afraid of rats until I did that job. Then I got over it pretty quick. And the problem was that if there wasn't any rats in the bag, it meant then there was a snake in the bag, which is worse because you could die from them. So the farmer who took me on, he seen me come into the bar initially, and he goes, "Do you want a job?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I was a big lad. He was like, "He'll be good." He swung for me 3 times in my first week on the farm. Called up
back or
nope. He just didn't like me. He didn't like me. I don't know. People don't tend to like me before they meet me. It seems to be a common theme. But he tortured me the whole time in the farm. Always gave me the worst jobs. He just didn't like me. And one day he took me and this fella out, and he says, "You two are going to lose your farm work because you have to do 66 days, 88 days you had to do in order to get your visa."
Yeah.
We were like 70 in, and he says, if you keep fucking about, I'm not going to write this off. So you're going to have to do your farm work again somewhere else. So he gave us this job where we had to run around with like a scythe, like a big long stick with like a knife on the end, and you had to chop these bells off the bottom of the bunches. So we were just moseying along doing it, and he came back cracking up, and he says, "You two aren't working hard enough. I'm telling you, I will sack you at the end of the day if you don't do this." So we sprinted, and he left us out in the farm. So all the buses went home. He left us two out there. So we were chopping for hours and hours, and then I realised that the sun was going down. I was like, "Mate, where the fuck is he?" We walked back to the farm. The whole place was dead. There was a cleaner in. And we had to ask her to get us a taxi home. See, by the end of the farm work, end of my time there, whatever, 3.5 months or whatever I did, he took me out to walk and he says, I know you think I'm a dickhead. I know you don't like me. And I was like, aye. I mean, do you blame me? And he goes, look, Emmet, you won't understand it now, but you will in time. I was doing you a favour. I know I seemed like a dick. I was very harsh on you. But he was like, you showed up here soft. I looked at you. You had stature. You had ability. But you were a soft cock. You weren't willing to do the work that you needed to do. And you were too much of a wee mummy's boy. You were just expecting to hand it to you. And he said, so I made it really hard for you. And he was like, it was to toughen you up. And that hard work that you have in you now, because you have been excellent the last couple of months or last couple of weeks, he was like, that's going to stand you in good stead for the rest of your life. That gave me a work ethic that has never been gotten from anything else. Yeah. That was what taught me that. So that
Sorry, have you ever been like that with a client? Like, you know, there's a client there that has the potential to do well and are just fucking about, they're sourcing about. And
yeah. And the first name comes to my mind is the client that's in our group chat, Jack Gray. Jack's a coach himself. Jack was on our mentorship together, but he was in the junior, so he was in the Nexus, and I was on the coach's mentorship, which was like the higher earning tier, because I lied to get in there. I should have been on the Nexus. Anyway, Jack hired me as a coach. But this time last year, he wasn't getting anywhere where he wanted to, and he knew he needed that hands-on approach. So he says, look, I can only afford one or the other, so can I hire you as a coach to learn from you? And I've been mentoring Jack for the last year. Jack won't mind me telling you this story.
Met him yesterday for the first time.
Yeah.
Just the garage, we saw each other. I goes, fuck, I'm your Jack, aren't you? And he was like, aye, well, what's happening? Just on the way.
Aye, he's an absolute fucking legend. And I see a lot of me in him. So Jack was really good Monday to Thursday. Come Thursday to Sunday, he was fucking about, and it was week on week. And I had to really have a go at him, because I expect you, if you're a PT and you hire me as your coach, or you're a coach and you hire me as your coach, I expect a level from you that isn't like general population, because I'm like, you're expecting other people to part with their hard-earned money and your standards aren't up to scratch, then like you're fucking about, you're being dishonest to them. So I had a lot of goes at Jack. I was very harsh on him, but I just said to him, I was like, and I was never a dickhead to him, but I was very, very straight and blunt to him. And I just said, look, mate, if you're expecting people to pay you, you need to walk the walk. You know, you aren't a walking, talking advertisement for who the fuck you are and what you're about. So I was like, if you're fucking about, the most you're going to get is fuck about clients who aren't going to pay you. They're going to skip their next payment. They're not going to tax you back when you need them to. I was like, so you need to walk and talk and act like the person you need to be and want to be, not who you are now. So that went on for a wee while, and then he texted me one day. He says, here, man, I've got a holiday in 10 weeks' time. Is it sweet if we do a photo shoot? And I was like, oh, he is nowhere near 10 weeks ready for a photo shoot. Yeah. And I says, Jack, yeah, but I was like, be prepared. I'm going to hammer you into the fucking ground. And I was like, I don't want to. I don't like it. I don't want to be that harsh. But I was like, in order for us to get a result, you just do what I say you do. I was like, there's no messing about. There's no going out. There's no slip-ups on a Sunday. There's none of that shit. I was like, you do what I say you do. So we did it. And so much so, 3 weeks out, I had to voice note his ma and dad and apologise to them. He asked me to. He was like, mate, do you mind just explaining to them why I'm being so ratty? Because he was so hungry. He was so tired. He was getting run into the ground, poor fella. And I voiced noted him. I was like, look, like, I'm really sorry. He doesn't mean it. I am starving him here.
He's just hungry.
Yeah, he's just very hungry and very tired, and he's having to run miles upon miles, which he's the only client that I've ever done that with, but he got the result. It was down to his own making. It was because he didn't put the work in when I was trying to say it to him.
Like, choices and consequences is something which I'm a firm believer in. Like, it's, you make a choice, you pay the consequence, may that be a good one or a bad one. But yourself, see, just being in the last, say, 3 years, when you've got your app and then now you've got vision, have you ever had a time where you've been burnt out and you've just said to yourself, fuck, I need a few days to myself here?
Yeah, absolutely. I've had true burnout twice. Burnout is awful. It's debilitating. When you are chasing something so hard, when you are trying your best and you feel like you keep putting this pressure on yourself that you need to achieve, that you need to do something, because especially when you came from a negative position to a positive like mine, and then you realise you're good at it, you then chase more. So you swap out the negative dopamine, whether it was drugs, drink, womanizing, whatever. You swap that out, and your new dopamine becomes How do I help people more? How do I build more business? How do I do the stuff that I know I can do? What leads to that is that it leads to mistakes. It leads to you doing more than you should be doing because people underestimate the power of rest. So yeah, I hit burnout twice. Nearly hit it this week, being honest with you.
And being away and stuff like that there as well, because like I know you're in Santorini, would you still have been working there?
Yeah.
And then, if you don't mind me asking, can you go into like any details of the type of why you were gonna burn out this week?
Yeah. So being away, I work the whole time. I bring my laptop everywhere. It's actually in my car right
I'm
now.
sure she loved that there, but she understands, I would say.
She was working more than me.
Was she?
I says there, I was like, I'll only be working the bare minimum here. She was the opposite. Her business is starting off, so
Yeah.
she's
Pedal
like,
to the metal.
fuck, like, and I get that because I was that person.
Yeah.
I'm not at that point, or I am and I'm not. I'm also like, I've realised the power of rest and giving yourself a break because you come back rejuvenated. What I did though was I came back rejuvenated, had a business meeting on Sunday morning with my ops manager and Leah, and you know, I was like, right, this is the structure, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're moving forward. And I just went really, really gung-ho to the point where I was non-stop working, like, I mean, 15, 16 hours. I was at my laptop some days this week and it was unnecessary. There's no need for it. And what it is I was putting pressure on me because it's my business, it's my baby. I built it, I funded it, it's mine. I just let it all get too much. So luckily enough, me and Leah know each other so well and she understands my brain the same way I understand her. That's why we work together. And so does my operations manager. We're very, very close. And the two of them had a word with me and they were like, you are putting too much pressure on you to perform, that you're actually being a detriment to what it is overall. So they were like, trust it, slow down. You know what you're offering is better than anything out there. So just calm your ham, you'll be all right. So I took a step back, had some downtime, and I was like, thank fuck for that. Yeah, woo fucking sa. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, look, it can happen. It's very, very, it's eagerness. You know, when you've dropped the fucking partying, you've dropped the dopamines, you've dropped the chasing women, all that shit there, and you're actually wanting something more. You just are changing that negative energy into a positive one, but sometimes you can just get ahead of yourself.
I've spoke to Justin about this here before. There's times where I'm sitting there and like there's obviously there's podcast stuff in terms of like just the stories and uploads and stuff like that there, and then see I just do the social media. I've got Matt and Hannah that do the uploads on the YouTube and Spotify, but I do the uploads on the Instagram and TikTok, and then the Battle Ready stuff, and just trying to come up with new content. And there's times where I'm sitting there and I've got so much like nothing to do, but I'm sitting there just looking at my screen going, I should be doing something here. Do you ever get like that there?
Absolutely. That's part of what I was doing. So I was going, I need to do something, need to be doing something. So then I just started being overdrive. And when you're overdrive into something, yeah, you're ticking fuckloads of boxes, but you know, are you actually being productive with your time, or are you just drilling yourself into the ground? And part of being a good leader and part of being running a good business is understanding that, yeah, sometimes running yourself into the ground ain't the one. You know, I teach everybody else that you need to water your own plant. You need to look after yourself first and foremost, before your kids, before your wife, before anybody else. You need to look after number one first. And I wasn't doing it myself. I was just putting every energy into the business. And just because I know it'll work and I know where it's going to go, but you're going to operate so much better if you actually take a step back and be thankful for where you are.
100%.
What you've built.
Like you need to take a wee step back at times. Take a step out of the like bubble or out of the square or whatever you want to call it, and see things clearly. Because I think when you're in that bubble or you're in that square, so much thoughts going about. You're fucking maybe a bit of self-doubt and stuff like that there, which is actually I've got a few questions here just to ask you here for you. He threw out Mickey Bartlett and all as well, and I was going,
I feel like he was looking at me to fight you because he was like, there's a guy and he's similar build to you and all, like it'd be a good fight and all, be a good scrap and all, I'm hey.
He's fucking
my animal own, hey.
Would you do one of them?
I don't know, but because as much as you introduced me like probably the most popular man in Belfast, I would argue that I'm probably not. I mean, there's a lot of it's more PTs and coaches don't like me more than anybody.
It's probably because you're putting yourself out there. Like,
but in all honesty, I wouldn't. I mean, if I put my focus on it, then I would.
Aye.
at this stage now, the time and effort it would take for me to learn and get good at it, because if I do something, I want to be the best at it. I would, being honest with you, I would take my focus off what I'm doing.
Aye, 100%. Like, and even those you probably have about fucking 12 weeks, 8 weeks notice, if even, and it's a camp like that there. It's not enough, because people do fucking. I'd want to be doing 5 to 6 days a week.
Same.
Proper like conditioning, and I nearly done it out. I had a pro boxer actually as my sergeant out there in Lebanon, so he was bringing me, but he ended up having to go home early. So a Muay Thai fighter was
Not the
training
same.
me. Not the same. He was just saving and sparring, because they just absorb. They absorb everything. So he just kept just walking forward, and I was.
That's not what
giving everything
you're trying to fight somebody who's going to be dodging you.
He was just fucking absorbing everything, and then just big overhand right. That was me. Fuck's sake. So bro, go into a few questions here just to close us off. So mental toughness, that kind of word, it gets thrown about a lot. Mental toughness for you, what does it mean, and can you describe what it is?
Mental toughness to me is resilience. In all honesty, I think that most people lack resilience. I think that the life that we are so fortunate to live in now is one of, you click a button, food comes to your door, you click a button, taxi comes to your door, you click a button, you might get sex at your door. So people are expecting everything for nothing now. Yeah. So there ain't no mental toughness there, because we are being taught to want the easy life, to live on easy street. Mental toughness means that you have to be willing to fight when it's not easy to fight. When it's dark outside, and you usually go to the gym at 5 in the morning, you don't want to get out of your bed because it's cold. Yeah. You fucking go anyway. That's mental toughness. When your kids are squealing at you, and your wife's giving off at you, and you're having sex in a week or two, and it's tough, and you want to go to the gym, and then you manage to squeeze it in at 9 at night, that's mental toughness. When your business isn't going the way you want it to go, that's mental toughness. But you're going to chase it anyway. You're going to go anyway. It's about going anyway and doing it anyway. That's toughness to me.
Love it. Self-doubt. How do you handle self-doubt?
Self-doubt now has probably left the building, being honest. I don't have any self-doubt now. I did, though. I suffered with it for most of my life. Limiting belief is a real thing, and your limiting belief is your limit to where you're going to go to. So if you think you're going to go that high, you're only going to go that fucking high. Yeah. My opinion is, shoot for the moon, and if you fall short, then you land among the stars.
Love that.
You get one in there, didn't you?
I love that. What's one non-negotiable when you are bringing on a client, division, coaching, or taking on someone for a mentorship? What's one non-negotiable that they have to do or have to stick to?
One non-negotiable would be you're honest. So my job as a coach, as a mentor, is to get you from A to B. A being where you are now, and B being where you want to get to. So if you're dishonest, if you're not telling me all the truth, if you're not telling me all the problems that's going on, how the fuck do you expect me to be in your corner? So you have to be honest, even if you don't want to. So obviously, look, we're all humans. We all tell ourselves porcupines. We also tell other people porcupines. We also don't want, we scrunch the numbers a wee bit than we should. So thing is data doesn't lie. You know, we operate off data. So if you're spoofing to me, even if I believe it, the data will show different anyway, and then I'll not believe it anyway. My job is really to read people. That's really what it is. People think it's fitness and nutrition. It's actually to read you, because I need to read what are the signs that you're feeling, what are the signs that you need help, what are the signs that you're hiding something from me. I need to read all that shit, because when I read that from you, then I can help you. So honesty is the true best policy for me.
Do you think, is that something, is it, like, this is like one of the questions, but is that something that you've kind of learnt over the years, is reading people? Because it's, say, probably back in the day, it wasn't something that you would ever have done, or is that something you've always had?
I always had a passion for psychology. I probably have never talked about it on any podcast ever before. I always loved psychology. So see my algorithm on my social media, it's all like psychologists, dating coaches, it's all this stuff, because I like to understand how the brain works. Yeah. Because if I understand how the brain works, then I understand why people do the things they say they do, and why people do the things they said they didn't want to do. So the more information you have about how the brain works, the more better positioned you are. So you're playing 4D chess and they're playing checkers, because they're just dealing with the next move right in front of them. You're already thinking about 5, 6 moves ahead. So The answer is yes and no. I always loved it. I didn't pay attention to it then. But what happened then was my job made me have to understand it. Another reason why I had to understand psychology was because posting content every day, rubbing people up the wrong way because of something you said, because you can't please everybody, is difficult. When you look and talk and act like me, for some reason people think I'm a dick before they meet me. They just do. They just have that opinion of me. My girlfriend thought I was going to be a dick before I met her. Honestly, everybody does. It's just what it's been like that for years. So what I've had to do is understand viewers, understand people that see my shit and what they're thinking, because that means then it gives me foresight into, okay, well, if I talk about this, if I post about that, then they might actually think and realise that I'm a good lad and I am sound. But it's hard to do that, so you have to read people. You have to read people at mass.
I think you need to see, one thing which I always do is, even if I've heard something about someone, I'll always just wait until I meet them to make my own opinions and my own judgments, because again, someone mightn't fucking like someone because the fucking a football team to support, something as stupid as that there, but you need to fucking give everyone a chance and fucking be open like as well, like, and as you were saying there, that people probably don't like you from some of your videos, but when they meet you, they're actually, fuck yeah, he's spot on. Like, I love this saying, opinions are like arseholes, everyone has one, and it's so true. The next one here is, if you could go back to 17-year-old you on that lad's holiday, what would you say to yourself now?
Well, I did.
Why
so when I did the tapping, the beauty of tapping is that it's cognitive therapy. So you're tapping around pressure points of your body. So, and then you find traumas and get them out. So what my mum did with me this time was, she was like, I want to try a new technique with you. It's called matrix re-imprinting. So you're re-imprinting the memory of something as a different story. So if I asked you to remember something when you were 5 that happened, you will remember it.
Yeah.
But what you're doing is re-imprinting the storyline. So yeah, the story is happening, but you're changing the outcome. So I was tapping around anyway, and she said to me, Emmet, I want you to walk into the room where you were getting bullied. It was before that lad's holiday. It was probably my downest day that I remembered before that. And she was like, I want you to talk to younger you. So this amazing thing happened. This ball of energy opened up at the front of my head, right here. It was like a big white ball of energy, like a big warm white ball of energy. And I went through it. And I'm totally sober. I'm not on drugs, by the way. Sitting here by my fucking man, like. And I walked into the room as who I am today, and I could see wee timid me, who had been getting called a spastic, getting called ugly, getting called stupid. And he was sitting there and he was drinking a wee beer on the sofa on his own. 2 girls had just called him an ugly cunt. And I walked over to him and I said, Emmet, you don't realise who the fuck you're going to be. You do not realise how much talent you have. Every lad in this room is going to look up to you one day. All the girls are all going to fancy you one day. You're going to be a fucking superstar. You just need to realise this and believe in yourself. And I give him a hug and I says, I believe in you because you are going to get it and you're going to be someone fucking special one day. You just need to believe, because this is the reality that you're going to realise one day. And I did, and then I came back out of that thing and sat with my mum. My mum busted out crying. She was like, Emmet, I can't believe that worked the way it did. So I actually did do what you asked me.
Was that closure for you, or did you think it needed closure?
Yeah, well, I mean, I get closure all the time, so I'm actively, any weakness I ever see in my mentality, any weakness I ever see in anything, behaviours at all, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in my relationship with my ma, whether it's anything, I will always do more tapping to fix that. I'll always go and heal that shit, because I believe the first stop to getting better is you. Like, people are always quick to point the finger. There's 3 pointing back at you, so look at numero uno first before anybody else. So I get closure continuously over and over again, because I go and handle every single traumatic issue that ever went on in my life, every single problem that ever went on, I go and handle it by doing that type of tapping.
I love that.
And I just don't believe that anybody does, especially, women you see these days. It's a very difficult topic with women these days, and you hear a lot of them say all men are bastards. You hear a lot of lads say all women are dickheads or whatever. And I just think that there's no accountability there. Nobody takes accountability for what their part was in it. You chose that person to be with. You made that decision to be with that person. There were signs there that they weren't good for you, and you chose that. Yeah. But instead of taking accountability for your decisions, you blame the other fucking person. They were like that. They were their person before you came along. So it was your job is to spot that. You didn't. So take accountability for it. So I wholeheartedly believe in that.
No, here I think that's class. That's definitely something which I actually want to have a research into myself. I think that's phenomenal and something that I'd love to speak to you about just later on.
Yeah.
Second last question here, just so what's next for you? What are your goals professionally and personally?
I write goals every year, and I'll tell you some of them. Some of them are financial, some of them are career, and some of them are just fun. So one of them, career-wise, was to get vision coaching up off the ground, and another was to do 3 public speaking events. I did my 3rd in September there. I'm booked for a 4th in November here. So I achieved that because I believed it. I wrote it down and I set a target to get it. Another after that is a funny one. Or sorry, not funny so much, but to spend time with family, to reach out to family and ring them, check in on them, see how they're doing, give myself a wee bit more, take my foot off the gas about work all the time.
Yeah.
They're short-term goals. Long-term goals is, as I alluded to already, I'm already priming 6 different clients to become coaches within vision coaching because I genuinely want to create a juggernaut because I want people to not have to invest twice, to not have to reach out to the wrong PT, not have to reach out to the wrong coach. I want everybody to feel like that is the fucking answer. So that takes a team. It takes people who are strong, and who better than people who have actually been clients within the company who are primed and ready to go to come in as a coach then. That's the medium term for the company. Long term is to be cheersing on my own fucking yacht one day with my team and saying we fucking did it.
Lethal. Last question then. If someone listening to this right now is struggling with motivation or direction, what's one piece of advice you'd want them to hear?
I think you need to understand why, first and foremost. Why do you want the thing you want? So if you don't know what you want, you need to get clear on that first. So if you can work out what it is you want, but you don't know how to get there, you're not motivated enough to get there, ask yourself, are you happy with where you're currently at? So if you are unhappy with where you're currently at, then you now have a driver to get you there. That is your motivation. Some days your motivation won't be there. Motivation is an emotion. I feel really motivated today. I feel really demotivated today. It's a fucking feeling. It's an emotion. Discipline's what's going to get you there. Mental toughness. Doing it fucking anyway. It's what's going to get you there. If you don't know where to go next, then you need to think, okay, what do I like doing? What do I like more of? Not cheap dopamine, whether it's playing video games, fucking going on Tinder, going on dates, drinking, drugging, sex, and whatever the fuck that is. None of that. They're short-term hits. They're not something you enjoy doing. Think about what you really, really enjoy doing, and then think, okay, how can I make money out of this? How can I get this? What is it that I want to do? If you don't know, like if you can't work that out, if you don't like anything, everybody likes something. Well, it's fucking reading. You could start a fucking group, a book club, whether it's the gym, start doing videos online, teaching people how to do things in the gym. Who knows? People might actually like you and want to buy from you.
Yeah.
There's always something for everybody. It's never been easier for you to make money than it is right now. But if you don't know what you want, then you're never going to fucking find out.
100%. Well, Emmet, thank you very much for coming on, bro. I appreciate it. I thought it was fucking class.